Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 15 of Cardano Ecosystem News. Today is December 21st, and that means only 4 more sleeps until Christmas. And just one more time, for anyone who does or doesn't celebrate Christmas, I want to wish everyone a beautiful and happy and healthy holidays to wrap up the year. Now, we have 3 stories to talk about today. Our first one is a special one all about CardanoWomen. This is a new group on Twitter aimed at creating community and collaboration and discussion and networking amongst women in the Cardano community. We'll tell you a little bit more about it and one of the cool projects I found by browsing their Twitter feed. So that's our first story. It'll be a quick one. And from there, I want to share with you a really important story, actually, that's not getting a ton of coverage. It's the announcement of the Cardano Defi Alliance. There are a ton of projects in this alliance, some really important ones like SundaeSwap and MLabs and Liqwid Finance and all kinds of projects that we've covered on here, some of the biggest projects in Cardano, and they're coming together to work together, to share ideas, to share tricks, and to share code, and this is really what's going to supercharge the Cardano ecosystem, and I just love how well it aligns with Cardano's values, which are all about community and family, and I'm really excited about the Cardano DeFi Alliance. And then our third story is, you guessed it, more news from Pavia. It feels like we talk about Pavia every day, and it's just because the team is making so many updates, and it is one of the most popular projects on Cardano right now. And guess what? We have info on a Pavia Coinbase listing. Pavia has applied to be on Coinbase. We'll talk a little bit more about that and what it may mean or may not mean. We also want to talk about the LaunchPad on Pavia. The team just released a video, a bit of a teaser video for what the LaunchPad may be, and it's caused a little bit of speculation amongst the Cardano creator community. In fact, one of our favorite channels, Army of Spies, Army of Spies is actually one of the main reasons I decided to start creating YouTube videos. He's super motivating and one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Definitely check out Army of Spies. But he released a great video yesterday suggesting that the Launchpad might be related to this Artifact Moon project. We'll tell you about why that might make the best sense. I think it might be right, but I also have 2 other theories about what the Launchpad might be. I'd love to share with you 2 other ideas for the Launchpad at the end of this video. And maybe we can have some discussion in the comments and some speculation. What do you think the Launchpad will be used for? All right, so that's the plan for today. CardanoWomen Group, then the Cardano DeFi Alliance, and finally, some more Pavia updates. So that's the plan. We'll see you on the flip side. Remember to like and subscribe so I stay alive. All right, for our first story today, I want to point the spotlight a little bit on this CardanoWomen Twitter group. The Twitter address is @CardanoWomen, and it's pretty cool what it looks like they're doing here. It seems to be pretty new. I think they started in December, so just a couple weeks ago, but they already have 161 followers. It's being led by this person, Ali Illustrated, who is a veteran of the United States Air Force and looks to be, if you check out her feed, you can see that she's got a bunch of really cool stuff on there. But it looks like they're using Twitter Spaces in order to meet. It's kind of like a club, a group for women in Cardano to meet and chat about things and to create community. I love this idea. It looks like they've already done 20 episodes. If you're not familiar, Twitter Spaces are similar to Clubhouse if you've done that before. It's basically an audio-only chat room. And so I've seen up to hundreds of people in a single chat room, and usually the host will moderate. But I've seen others where it's just 6 or 7 people all just chatting on voice, like a big voice call together. And I haven't attended one of these myself, of course, but for any women that are fans of this channel, I wanted to point this out. It looks also like they share some pretty cool NFT projects, some that are, perhaps women-based. So there's this project here called Sacred Femmes that they've mentioned a few times. That looks pretty cool. I was looking at the art earlier. This is the website for that project. It's kind of beautiful, actually. It's really interesting. 40 ADA. It looks like they minted just a few days ago, 2 days ago, really. And so, wow, the Great Mothers. So this project looks really, really cool. I think we might do like a deeper feature on this project, actually. You can see the team there. Just wonderful. But what's really cool as well is, I discovered this project by discovering the CardanoWomen Twitter group. And so any women who are listening, any fans of the channel who might be women of Cardano, go ahead and check this out. See if it's something you're interested in. And maybe it can be fun. An announcement was made a few days ago that is not getting as much coverage as it really deserves. This is a bit of a meta announcement. It's not an announcement about a specific project, but actually about a whole group, about a family, about an alliance of projects coming together. And this is the type of announcement that can really impact the future of the Cardano blockchain and the Cardano ecosystem and about decentralized finance on Cardano. So 4 days ago, the Cardano DeFi Alliance came out and publicly announced their establishment. And they have a link here to their official page, which is at CardanoDefiAlliance.org. .org. And they describe one of their missions as standardizing Plutus DeFi development. Now, DeFi is decentralized finance, and Plutus is the current programming language for Cardano. We can call them smart contracts or Cardano scripts, let's say maybe. So Plutus is the programming language for Cardano, just like Solidity is the programming language for Ethereum, and JavaScript is the programming language for logic in a browser like Chrome. And so anyhow, this is a group of DeFi projects coming together in order to share best practices and to create standards. And look at the members that are in this group. We've talked a lot about SundaeSwap, MLabs. We'll talk a little bit about Charlie 3 today. A lot of you know about Liqwid, GeroWallet. Ardana was recently featured on the Cardano mid-month update. These are huge leaders in the Cardano ecosystem, and it's just a few days old. I have every expectation that more people are going to be joining this, potentially every week, one or two more joining this alliance. They talk about different areas that they're going to be focused on. One is building standards for Plutus and DeFi app protocols. And basically, the more that we have standard protocols, this is almost like the language to communicate between apps. The more that we have standard, well-defined protocols, the more we can have these apps interoperating together. The protocol is like the language for them to trade data back and forth. And so this is really exciting to empower a lot of these projects to work together. They talked about sharing development, so working on open source projects and tooling for Cardano. I think we heard from Pi Landingham of SundaeSwap that SundaeSwap's been doing a lot of work in terms of tooling, and they did a lot of work for their testnet, creating like a test environment and test data in order to simulate like real world conditions. And so when these companies are building test suites, if they can share it with other projects, it will help other projects do their testing in a much more robust way, saving them time, but also catching bugs that might otherwise not have been caught. So the more we can share development and share that tooling, we'll really be able to like supercharge the development of the Cardano ecosystem. They also want to talk about transparency of key issues. So in September, there was a lot of drama over the concurrency issue. But there's a couple DEXs on here, MinSwap, SundaeSwap, that'll be dealing with similar issues. The more they can be transparent and discuss trade-offs, the better the whole ecosystem can arrive at the best options. And by sharing, we'll have different variations. If SundaeSwap shares their scooper model, MinSwap might decide in light of that, to differentiate themselves and do a different model. And for us as users, that might create different opportunities for us when we want to do a particular swap to go to Sunday for a different kind of transaction, maybe to MinSwap. So the more they're transparent on some of these issues like concurrency and other things to decide on, the more variation we can get, as well as standardization when it's needed. This is a really important one. They're going to be talking about protocol security. We hear every week about Ethereum DeFi projects losing millions and millions, indeed billions. Charles Hoskinson has shared himself over $10 billion, billion with a B, has been lost on Ethereum DeFi projects just in the last 12 months. Just in 2021, $10 billion lost. Now, if we can have these projects sharing security principles, that will help reduce and eliminate that to a large degree, not 100%, but to a large degree in the Cardano DeFi ecosystem. Indeed, MLabs, as we'll talk about in a minute, MLabs is an auditor. They will look at your project's design, look at your code, and make sure that the code does what the design says and that the code is implemented correctly. And so having MLabs in this alliance really levels up the security and stability and robustness for all of the other projects in this alliance. It's really quite complementary. It's amazing. I've kind of gone ahead of myself, auditability, but MLabs is going to be providing a big part of that. And if they can find issues on SundaeSwap, they can share those issues with MinSwap, and then back and forth, MinSwap issues can be shared with SundaeSwap. And you might think, well, why would those competitors want to share so much? Well, they still have a lot of diversity. The scooper model for SundaeSwap is quite unique. The way they're they're doing their stake pool offering is unique. There's still a ton of opportunities to have variance without having to vary in terms of security. Let's have all the Cardano DeFi systems be secure, but have other different variations among them. I think if there's a lot of security issues in one of these projects, it will hurt all of them. If there's an impression that Cardano is somehow unsafe or less safe than other blockchains, it will hurt all of them. So a rising tide lifts all ships, and it's important that security is strong for all Cardano projects as much as possible. And so security and auditability is not a place really you want to differentiate yourself. There's much more interesting places, more user impacting places to create your kind of unique selling point. So I wanted to give a high level heads up that these projects have come together to share and create standards, to share tooling, to be transparent about some of the key issues and their roadmaps, to make sure we have some differentiation, to also share security issues, and to have shared auditability, maybe even sharing some of the issues that come up and get fixed as part of the audit process. And I started to look at some of these projects. We're certainly all familiar with SundaeSwap. We've covered that on this channel a ton. MinSwap is another DEX, another decentralized exchange for the Cardano blockchain. But there's a bunch of really cool stuff on here we haven't talked about yet. I'll probably be doing deeper dives on these as the projects have more updates. But just super quickly, Charlie 3, very, very popular. They're similar to Chainlink. They're an oracle. And so their mission is to make data available to all of these other projects, and even more than the projects in this alliance, making data available for them. Perhaps you have some kind of a game on Cardano that needs to know the score of the Super Bowl or some other sporting event. Well, potentially, Charlie 3's Oracle can give access to those projects in real time to what the score is. Or perhaps, you need to know the temperature in a certain African nation. Or perhaps you need to know the price of gold in real time. Well, the Charlie 3 Oracle will have all kinds of data streams that other projects can pull from, okay? So their whole idea is making data available. There's a bunch of information on their team here, a bunch of videos. There's been a lot of coverage of Charlie 3, and we'll probably do some in a bit, but they're part of this group. It's so important that this group has an Oracle, because a lot of these projects are going to need access to an Oracle. Oracle means data provider, and these projects are going to need a data provider. There's a bunch of other really, really cool stuff as well. I talked about MLabs. MLabs is a consultancy, but basically they're offering a lot of audits. Okay, you can see here we're now offering audits for Plutus smart contracts on Cardano, and so they can help you with project setup, architecture, management, development, maintenance after you launch, and they've got experience with other blockchains as well, so they can help you differentiate. They understand Polkadot and Solana and how Cardano actually stands alone, and so they look like they'll be offering some auditing for all of these projects. We know SundaeSwap has a different auditor as well, but having MLabs in this mix surely won't hurt. Some other really cool projects I was looking at on here, one of them is Optim. Optim describes themselves as a yield aggregator. And actually, before we talk about Optim, let's look at Liqwid. Liqwid describes themselves as DeFi lending. And so the idea here is if you have a bunch of crypto, you can actually put that into a liquidity pool and as a lender. And other crypto traders and people can borrow your crypto, and you'll earn interest on your crypto. And sometimes this can be quite attractive, 5%, 10%. Some protocols get really high, even beyond that. But it can be a lot more attractive than your bank or some kind of a bond. And so Liqwid is all about DeFi lending, where you can generate yield. Think of yield as interest earnings. You can generate interest on your ADA or other Cardano assets. And then Optim describes himself as a yield aggregator. So they're looking at creating an algorithm and some way to basically aggregate, to group all of these different yield options, like Liqwid and like other projects, and they're going to find the best one for you. Okay, so the idea is they're going to look at Liqwid, look at some of the other ones. You'll probably see some lending on MLabs, for example. Ardana might have some stablecoin options for lending. And the idea with Optim is to be able to hopefully interface with all of those and find you the best opportunity, maybe every day or every week. So I'm really interested in this project. It gets quite technical, but I think I'll follow. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on Optim, and we'll see what they're doing. I love this idea of, because I'm not sure which lending I should do. There's going to be so many options. Hopefully Optim can make that easy for me. So just a lot of really cool stuff. GeroWallet is in the alliance. This is a beautiful Cardano light wallet that you can see here. So similar to Nami wallet or Yoroi wallet, a browser-based wallet. It looks like just very, very cool. And one of the things they've talked about trying to do is have cross-chain swapping. So potentially some integration with, I don't know, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, as well as, again, yield farming. And so you can loan out your crypto within the GeroWallet. And so you can imagine, once again, Optim may be able to integrate with GeroWallet and see if GeroWallet's better than Liqwid or what have you. And then the final one I wanted to show you is Indigo. This is another technical one, and it's all about synthetics. And so the idea here is you can take any asset in the world and create almost like a synthetic, like a copy, like a fake version of it, a proxy version of it on the Cardano blockchain. And so some examples might be like, maybe you want to trade gold using your ADA. You want to speculate. You don't want to buy and sell gold itself, but you want to speculate on the price. Well, they might want to create like a synthetic almost like a stock ticker, a synthetic instrument that matches the price of gold. And if you have some theory that gold is going to go up, 10% over the next 6 months, then you might want to, buy some of this synthetic asset. And as the price of real gold goes up, then the price of this synthetic asset will go up, and you can make money there. So it's often used for like either speculating or just for hedging, right? So you can use this to hedge if you have like a different position in gold, like a futures exchange, but you want to hedge it somewhere. You can do that with this synthetic version. But they might have synthetics for stock prices as well. So maybe you want to buy Tesla, but you want to speculate on the price of Tesla. Let's say you think Tesla's going to double in price, but you don't want to set up an account at your exchange. If there's a synthetic version of Tesla, then you're going to be able to participate in that price speculation and participate in those price earnings without owning the real Tesla. You can own this kind of proxy fake version of Tesla, but with a price that matches the real one. So you can buy it and sell it and make money on the difference. And so there's a lot of reasons why people might want to do that. And synthetics often get well beyond things like gold and stocks. You can have synthetics for very wild things, like game projects and celebrities and stuff. You can have a synthetic maybe for Elon Musk himself, a reputation synthetic. So there's a lot of really creative stuff with synthetics that we're going to talk about a little bit later once Indigo is out a little bit more. But it's super cool to see them as part of this alliance. Really excited for this DeFi alliance. This is what will help us have secure, robust DeFi, really strong projects on Cardano. And it just aligns so well with Cardano's mission of community, right? Catalyst is all about community, and Cardano is all about community and family. And I just love this project, and I love the start. It's only been 4 days since they announced. Keep an eye on this, and we'll keep an eye on it for you. And once again, another batch of pretty big updates from the Pavia team. Some pretty important stuff we're going to run by you. But first, super quickly, I want to acknowledge that it has to feel like we're talking about Pavia on this channel every single episode. I've even had to move the Pavia updates to the end of the episode. Otherwise, it would feel like we're only talking about Pavia and we're some kind of Pavia channel. I got to remind everyone, we have no partnership with Pavia, no paid sponsorships, no advertising or anything at all. I only own a few, really, just a couple Pavia land plots, and I'm just a huge fan of the project. And I think a lot of you guys might be fans of Pavia as well. This chart here is showing over the last 30 days the most heavily traded CNFT, Cardano NFT projects. And you can see here in position number 1 is Pavia. It says Pavia has done 6.3 million ADA in trade volume over the last 30 days. That means 6.3 million ADA was spent buying Pavia land parcels. Now, some of this was spent on buying the same parcel multiple times. Parcels trade back and forth. But this is basically 6.3 million worth of ADA being spent on Pavia. It's a huge signal for how popular and how much activity is happening with the NFT project. Now, in spot number 2 is SpaceBuds. And we're huge fans of SpaceBuds. It's a beautiful project. The team has done amazing things for the platform, for the ecosystem. They also had this beautiful ad on Times Square, huge video billboard, just really impressive project. But Pavia has done 4 times the trade volume. So that just gives you a sign of how many people and how much interest there is in Pavia right now, over the last 30 days even. And indeed, if you add up the trade volume for SpaceBuds, Chilled Kongs, Clay Nation, Dead Pixels, Makasi, Zombie Chains, Block Owls, Goat Tribes, and even Equine NFT, I think I pronounced that right, Equine NFT, you get to about 6.2 million ADA traded if you add all of these up, which is just a little bit less than Pavia. So what's that saying is, over the last 30 days, Pavia has done more trade volume than the next 9 projects on this list. That's a pretty amazing statement. I think it shows that a lot of people are interested in Pavia. There's 8,000 wallet holders, which also looks to be more than any of the other top 10 projects. I think there's a lot of interest around Pavia, and so that's why I'm happy to share news with them, news about them, sorry. Okay, so jumping into that news, though, what is the big news? Well, check this out. They posted just a few hours ago, actually, that the Pavia team submitted their Asset Hub application. At first, I thought, what is this? Asset Hub. Clicking through, this is the Coinbase Asset Hub. They applied to be added to the Coinbase Asset Hub. I think this is the first step of becoming listed on Coinbase. And, this is pretty exciting. We were all gifted a bunch of Pavia tokens last week, and now many people in the Cardano ecosystem own Pavia. And if they get listed on Coinbase, that can make it a lot easier for us to, trade that Pavia for other tokens, or to just get a better sense of the value of the Pavia token, and to get other non-Cardano people interested in Pavia. If we start topping charts like the one I showed you a minute ago on OpenSea NFT, if there's this much volume being traded compared to other Cardano NFT projects, it could end up being in the top 10 or the top 20 list of global NFT sales, and so we could end up next to the Sandbox and the Decentralands. And so the sooner we can get onto these platforms like CoinMarketCap and Coinbase, more interest can be brought into Pavia, and people who are all holding the Pavia tokens might be able to see some price appreciation. And so this is really cool to see Coinbase application here coming from the Pavia team. Now, we have no idea what will happen from this. I don't expect Pavia to be listed, this week or next week. I think it could take several months, maybe even more than a year. I think if it's going to happen, it could be at the end of 2022, maybe not until 2023, maybe not until they're really close to launching. And so I think this is still a long ways off, but it's exciting that, they've started this journey of listing Pavia on Coinbase. And who knows, maybe someone that works at Coinbase owns some Pavia or has heard of the project. If the right people learn about Pavia, maybe somehow it can get listed earlier. So very exciting. Love to see this from the Pavia team. This is a huge step. Very cool. Now, the other big news from the Pavia team is they released another video, this one about the Launchpad. And we'll play just a little bit of it for you here. We'll jump around a bit, but check out this Launchpad that we've all been wondering about. So just a teaser, just a rocket ship taking off. But they tagged their post, #interoperability, Cardano and Metaverse. And they have this quote, "Think bigger." Well, this is really interesting. It definitely is just a teaser, and they're asking us to think and to brainstorm, what do we think this Launchpad could be all about? Now, you might remember, if you go to the Pavia website, you can go to the top and click the map at any time, and this will show you where the Launchpad is. If you come over here to the left, you can see the Launchpad on the left here, and it says Launchpad. There's a few parcels here that are reserved for the Launchpad. And I'll remind everyone, they also have other parcels here for portals. And so we have this discussion around, what is a portal? What is a Launchpad? What is the difference between them? Now, a lot of us have been speculating, what is this Launchpad for? And indeed, one of our big fans, one of the channels I'm a huge fan of is Army of Spies. Army of Spies is one of the channels that got me interested in Cardano NFTs. This is a huge, amazing creator. If you're not subscribed to him already, go ahead and check him out. He's one of the best. He's really a legend. And he created a video yesterday speculating on the Launchpad mystery. And one thing that he noticed is that the first response to this tweet from this project called Artifact, and they asked, that rocket coming to the moon? And so early speculation, and our Army of Spies was speculating, he didn't say for sure, that it might be this project here, that the Launchpad might be some kind of a partnership with this Artifact project, which is all about the moon. And so that would make sense, that the Launchpad going into space, going into moon, that we showed you in that video, could be a hint of some kind of partnership with Artifact. Artifact is another metaverse project, and it's actually pretty cool. You can go and purchase parcels of the moon. They've got like some photo imagery of the moon here, and you can actually purchase parts of the moon here. They've got Apollo 15 here, all kinds of really cool stuff, Apollo 17. So you can purchase these land plots on the moon. Not totally dissimilar from Pavia. But one other cool thing is I noticed they have Mars and Arrakis. Now, we're huge Dune fans here. I'm a big fan of the Dune universe and the Dune movie and the Dune novel. If Arrakis becomes available, I think I'm definitely going to try and buy a piece of Arrakis. That would be way too cool. So we're going to keep our eye on this project, Artifact, and especially if there's an Arrakis or even a Mars launch, that'll be super cool. But this is a really good guess out of Army of Spies for what the launchpad could mean. I want to present a different guess, though, and it's just a total different speculation, but it could be that this rocket here, just looking at the art style a little bit, I don't know, it could be that it is actually Boss Cat Rocket Club. We talked about this project in our last episode, and I don't know, I'm looking at the art style of this rocket ship here, and then looking at the art style, on this rocket here, not totally dissimilar. Maybe all rockets are built this way, I'm not sure, but I started to speculate that could it be that the launchpad is potentially a partnership with Boss Cat Rocket Club? Now, the Boss Cat Rocket Club is getting ready to release information about their rocket parts NFT project. Last week, they launched their cats, and now the second part of this project is all about spaceships and rocket parts, and you're going to be able to build a rocket. And they've talked about launching, and they've talked about a launch pad. Now, they've described it as a launch pad building on the sandbox. And so, I don't know, is there something here, a launchpad in the sandbox metaverse? Is there something around, there might be a launchpad in sandbox that takes you to Pavia, and a launchpad in Pavia that takes you to the sandbox. Could that be what's happening here? I wonder if this launchpad here is related to Boss Cat Rocket Club and related to the sandbox launchpad that Boss Cat Rocket Club might be doing. It's just a guess. I think Army of Spies guess is as good as mine. I'm not even sure which one of these I believe is more likely. This is a pretty new project, so it'd be interesting if this was the plan all along. If it was, I don't know, I'd wonder how much partnership might exist between Pavia and the Boss Cat Rocket Club. The Boss Cat Rocket Club is connected to so many projects, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, but we've also seen hints that they're connected to a bunch more projects. So really interesting stuff. I wonder if the launchpad is actually Boss Cat Rocket Club or Artifact Spaces. And I have just one more guess. And this is probably not it, but maybe it is. What if the launchpad is a launchpad? In crypto, in Cardano, we have this idea of launchpads being project launchpads, kind of like project incubators. Here is a popular one called CardStarter. They describe themselves as a launchpad or an accelerator. And the idea here is that you can submit money, you can add money to a liquidity pool as part of a launch pad, and then that money is used to make very early, like seed investments into blockchain projects. And so a launch pad is kind of like an incubator, like an accelerator, if you've heard of Y Combinator. It's like an early seed investor consortium, and you can give money to a launch pad, and they'll spread your money out across very, very early projects. And so, you can see that this launch pad here is partnered with all kinds of people, and I could imagine them potentially Pavia is thinking of creating their own launch pad to invest in other projects. Maybe their idea is to invest in other Cardano projects and call it the Launchpad. And maybe when you visit the Launchpad on their platform, it will give you some preview of those projects, maybe some kind of, some marketing material about the projects that the Launchpad is invested in. Another popular Launchpad on Cardano is OccamFi Razor. This is also called the Cardano Launchpad. And so, Launchpad, the idea is to get money from investors and to spread it out amongst very, very early projects before they launch. And then the people who put in money will get early allocations. They'll get early tokens in these projects. So Cardano has a few Launchpads, and I just wonder, I'm not sure if that's the plan, but I wonder if the Pavia Launchpad might be just a traditional crypto Launchpad. So those are some interesting ideas. What do you think? Is it Artifact? Do you think it's the Boss Cat Rocket Club? Do you think maybe it's a traditional launchpad? And what do you think about this Coinbase news? I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Let's speculate around what the launchpad is. Think bigger. Wow. So that's our show for today. We talked about the new CardanoWomen Twitter community. And then we talked about the new Cardano DeFi Alliance. I'm really excited for that one. And of course, we talked about some updates from Pavia, including their Coinbase listing application. Well, I really enjoyed visiting with all of you today, and I hope that you enjoyed the program too. And we'll see you next time on Cardano Ecosystem News. Meow.